Andrea was and is a professional dancer, choreographer, and Pilates instructor. You might know her from the video 10, I saw this online today. Dance yourself thin in 10 minutes.
Beginning of the career.
Beginning of the career. And they were trying to move like a heavy weight belt. Maybe she could tell us about this. Yes. So now she is the CEO and founder of Xtend Barre. Andrea Rogers, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, again, this is not transportation. How'd you get here?
Sharing the mic.
Go ahead.
Hi, guys. So I grew up in a small town called Romeo, Michigan, home of Kid Rock. Not sure if that's a good thing or not, but
Future senator.
there you go. It's a very small town, and I grew up dancing. Since I was 3 years old, grew up dancing, and at 12 years old, I actually started teaching dance. I looked like I was like 6, so I don't know who gave me a class to teach at that age. And I fell in love with the movement and the choreography and the creativity behind the element of dance. And from there, I continued my dance career 7 days a week, every single day. And I went to school, got my degree, did that whole, kind of business thing, and couldn't sit behind a desk. It was itching. Just really wanted to have that creative output. And so it was actually my husband who said, "Why don't you do that Pilates thing?" He didn't know what it was. And I said, "Yeah, that's true." I had a kinesiology background and said, "You know what, I'm going to try that." So I went into classical Pilates, went to a comprehensive program, and went full in. I studied for 2 years and really learned everything I could about the technique and the method, and fell in love with the intellectual workout of Pilates. But after about 3 or 4 years of teaching, I started to itch again. I wanted that creative output. And for who does Pilates in here? Anybody do Pilates? Okay, so if you do classical Pilates, you're in a little bit of a box. A, then B, then C, and there's a specific order of exercises. And I kept saying, well, what if you did C after, and just switching around the order. And from there, I started to sprinkle in some dance choreography with my private clients. And they were responding to it, and they were coming back the next day and saying, "Andrea, do that thing you did with me, that dance move you did with me." And that's really how it started. I started to sprinkle in the exercises. I saw really quick, fast results that the clients were connecting to, more so than Pilates. And I approached the owner of the studio in South Florida and said, "Hey, I've got this idea." And I had done other bar programs, but none of them spoke true to who I was and what I wanted to create. I said, "Let me launch this program." And within a couple weeks of launching, we had a wait list. So I kind of knew we were onto something from there.
So, first we do C, then A, then B. So you could have just said, I'll stick with the dyslexic Pilates. But you invent your own thing. And I guess my question is, if you have a dance background, that's all about regimentation too.
Correct.
First position, second position. Choreographers could be creative, but the dancers have to follow the structure. Then you do Pilates, and it's all about following the structure. Then you literally invent your own thing from scratch. It's an amalgam of these two different disciplines. But was that scary? You didn't have, hundreds of years of knowledge telling you these are the exact steps to do.
Right. No, and I didn't set out to create a workout per se. I created a class that I selfishly wanted, that I wanted to do, that I knew felt good on my body, that I saw the clients responding to. I saw them getting results that they were getting quicker than just with Pilates alone. And so that's really how it stemmed.
So was the key was it had to work and they had to get results, but also the experience had to be enjoyable. Yeah, so how'd you build that into it?
Yeah, just like we were talking about earlier that Lauren was saying, it's all about the experience. It's all about, that class has to move, and it has to be something that you want to go back and do every single day. And you have to leave saying, I got my money's worth, right? And that's what's so unique about Xtend Barre, is that you leave our classes, and I don't know if any of you have done a traditional bar class before, but you won't come into an Xtend Barre class and do down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, and just do these isometric movements. You leave and you are sweating. I mean, there are puddles on the floor, and it is this incredible experience, and you do not have to have any dance experience. So if you have 2 left feet, you can do the class, and you'll leave feeling a little more graceful, maybe a little more balletic, but you can still do the class regardless of your fitness experience.
How many instructors do you employ?
Oh my gosh, we have thousands, probably close to 3,000 now all over the world.
Well, when you first had your one studio there in Florida, in Boca, right? How many were working there?
So I have Lori, who's in with me right here. That's my first employee, and she's our director of education. Yes, we've been together for over 7 years, and it was really just her and I for a while. It was just her and I for a while, and the goal was to create a comprehensive certification so that we could add more classes because we were teaching every single class and it was waitlisted, and so we just developed a program and took a year to develop the repertoire.
I guess my question is, so many of these classes have a structure, but then within the structure, the personalities of instructors come out. So how'd you rein that in? How'd you decide how far to let them go? How far was too far so that at some point it wasn't Xtend Barre anymore?
Right. Oh, and we still deal with those quality control issues. I think every company does. But what I set out to do was allow the talent of our team to shine and allow them to have individual flavor in the class. I think that's what makes everything so unique. We set a foundation out, so we know you have to follow this foundation, but within that foundation, you have freedom. So I don't want my clients coming back and knowing what's coming next, which they do in some other disciplines. They'll go right into that next exercise in other classes. I want them every single class to go, how have they continued to do this after 7 years of working out? I still have never taken the same Xtend Barre class twice.
So I would assume in the beginning you could personally not be in every class but see every instructor, but now you definitely, I mean, how many Xtend Barre locations are there?
Yeah, we have over 180 affiliate locations.
So how many have you been to?
Oh, that's a good question. Quite a few, not 180.
What about the ones in China?
No, haven't been there yet.
So there are places out there that have the name Xtend Barre that's all a reflection on you. You know, that's Andrea, could just as well be saying Andrea Rogers. How do you keep the quality control and still know that the Xtend Barre experience they're going to get in one place is the same as the next? And it's not McDonald's, because there the answer is it's all regimented. Right. But here, there's a lot of creativity, there's a lot of wiggle room, there's a lot of subjectivity as to whether it is or isn't an Xtend Barre experience. What do you do? How do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fortunately, we built an incredible team of master instructors all over the world. And most recently, we are now using IT to track all of that. So doing live webinar, doing courses with our instructors worldwide so that they can come to the base, which is us in South Florida, and learn directly from us. And then we rely on our studio owners, our franchise owners, to be eyes and ears on the ground, quality control. And then we also have quality assurance specialists that travel all over to make sure the quality of the classes is exactly where it needs to be.
So you're based in Florida, you have eyes and ears. Right, you have eyes and ears on the ground, you exert influence over your underlings. It's like Scientology is what you're saying. Yeah. When the decision to go from that which you can hold in your hand to other franchises throughout the world, was that a big psychological, financial, emotional step?
All of the above,
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think when you decide to expand, it's challenging. It's like building a family. I equate Xtend to be my third child, right? You learn along the way, and it's your baby, and you're watching it mature and grow, and you have to sometimes let go and have faith that you've taught them the right way, and you put the right structure in place so that it can grow and have a strong foundation.
What about products that aren't going to a class? Like, do you have videos? Are you thinking of doing distance bending, distance ballet?
Distance bending?
Distance ballet. And then the question is that cannibalizing? Like, you don't really want to give someone the option, I'll just pay $20 for this video as opposed to go to all my classes.
Right. Well, something that we've done at Xtend, which we identified a few years ago, was that we wanted to make sure that we were not just held in this bar bubble. So we've expanded our programming. We've launched 11 new programs since we started Xtend. We have a TRX program we call Suspend. We have a Fitball program. We have a rolling program. We have a high-intensity interval training class called Xtend Sweat. So we have really focused on using our foundation and our principles of dance and Pilates, integrating those principles within different formats so that our clients can come. I have clients in Boca that are averaging, no, kid you not, 14 classes a week. They have a lot of time on their hands. It's a good market for us. But 14 classes a week, and that's because they're taking 2 or 3 classes a day. They take an Xtend Barre class, then they'll stay for their Pilates Fusion class, and then they'll jump into an Xtend Suspend class. And so our goal is to really make sure that we're diversifying and constantly being the leaders in that category.
Do you internally refer to those people as extenderexics?
Extenders. Very important.
Might I suggest an extentervention?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
For an additional fee, of course. So,
Can I trademark?
other than just expanding by volume, like, how will this expand? How will this take the place of what Pete was saying instead of having your Moscow Mule? But where do you see your specific business and the general category of businesses going?
Yeah, absolutely. I think exactly what Lauren was saying, the experience, and what we strive for and what we've strove for as we launched Xtend Barre 2 years ago. We really relaunched it. We call it Xtend Barre 2.0 now.
Okay.
Because when I first started, it was just me running this puppy out of my house. I was doing every manual, every single thing, and now we've got great partners like Pete and Integrity Square to help us support this growth. And the purpose was to really focus on what can we build that is not just focused on the output, right, the physical. Because we are not out to strive to create ballerina-like bodies. That is not our goal at Xtend. We are focused on creating a sense of community, empowerment. All of our classes are fused with strength and power and cardio so that individuals are leaving not feeling like, yes, they look better and their derriere might be lifted, but they're also feeling a sense of accomplishment, self-motivation, self-confidence. So as we continue to grow this brand, we really focus on movement being a pillar of the brand, and movement and transformation and growth and every facet that means to an individual and within our company as well.
All right. My last question is, I understand that you started off as a dancer on Disney cruises.
Don't ask me to dance.
No, I just want to know what Justin Timberlake's really like. Or am I thinking of another Disney?
I didn't dance with Justin Timberlake, but
You were on Disney cruises.
I was the Disney cruise, yes.
Were you ever in costume as a character?
I did Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
I was the shortest Alice in Wonderland in history. I did get approval to be Alice in Wonderland.
Well, at some points when she eats the certain mushroom, she's small, and then at some point she's tall. I think Jefferson Airplane sang about that. Andrea Rogers, thank you so much, Andrea.